Hello everyone. Welcome to the webinar on how to use Atfarm and N-Tester. Hopefully everyone can see my screen and hear me. So my name is Natalie Wood. I'm the Country Arable Agronomist for Yara UK and Ireland, and I'm going to cover the following topics in today's session. So why variable rate applications? What are the benefits of those? How to sign up and upgrade from a free account? How to map a field manually? How to upload a field from a shapefile, how to create a fertilizer VRA map, and then how does the N-Tester work and how do you use the N-Tester with Atfarm. At the end, we will have a Q&A session where I'm joined by two colleagues today from the digital side of the business. That's James de Guara, who's product manager, and Janiri Ramos, who's incubation lead. So please, if you have any questions, type them in the chat box, which you should see on your webinar view there. So let's get started. So as I mentioned before, why use variable rate applications for nitrogen? So really what we're doing is applying only what the crop requires. And you can see here from this field, across the field, then there's a whole range of different end-dose response curves, which shows the variability across that field. So when you're applying a uniform rate, you're not fulfilling all of these different responses. Some you'll be putting on too much and some you won't be putting on enough. So you can see that there's a lot of variety across this field in particular. You can see there the flat responses and then other areas that are responding to nitrogen very well. So as I mentioned, applying a uniform application across this won't be optimum for all areas and you're going to be compromising on them. So by variably applying, you can increase that growth and therefore yield in the areas that will respond to the nitrogen, whilst decreasing the amount of nitrogen on the flatter response curves, and therefore you're saving money on the fertilizer spend. So over application of nitrogen can lead to lodging, of course, and this image shows the variable application rate field on the left-hand side, and you've got no lodging there. And then on the right-hand side, there's the uniform application, which has had the same rate across the whole field, and you can see there is lodging and potential yield loss. So we want an even homogeneous crop like we see on that left-hand side again, and you'll achieve this with VRA. Again, this image here shows the left-hand side, which has had variable rate application, and then the right-hand side, which has just had a uniform application. The homogeneous field is very even and you can't really see any difference between any of the areas in there. Field, you can see there's very dark green areas, which is our application. And then there's some very bare, uneven patches, which will be the under-applicated parts. So altogether, with the VRA, you should get that even homogeneous crop, which should be easier for harvesting as well. So therefore, if we think of those take-home messages from the variable rate, you're going to increase yield through that homogeneous crop, and that can be 4% yield increase over the whole farm. And you'll also decrease your nitrogen excess, which is obviously good for your pocket, good for the environment. So those are the key benefits really of variable rate. So I'm going to show you now a short video on how to sign up for Atfarm. If you've got a free account at the moment and you're wondering how that you upgrade to the next step, then I'll show you this video and we should be able to show you how that's done. So if I just talk through this, you'd have seen on the first screen there was a click that said if you want to register. So this is how you sign up for Atfarm. Just a few details: name, email address, and then create a password, and it will ask you also for the country that you're in. Once you've inputted that data, there'll be a couple of tick boxes that you need to tick for terms and conditions, etc. And then you can click sign in. So you can see you get an option to sign in as a farmer or an advisor, so that's up to you which one you want to choose. If we go for farmer, it'll prompt you to set up a farm, but you can cancel that and go through to the upgrade. So you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, we've got the upgrade button there. And it'll take you through to the various plans that we've got. So there's the variable rate application on its own, the N-Tester on its own, or the package that you get both of those elements together, which is the best value for money as well. So if you click on the chosen package, you can see it's already pre-populated your first and last name. And then there's a few other parameters you need to put in, such as your phone number, company, which is optional, address, followed by your postcode, etc. It'll already have pre-populated the country because we've already added that. And then you will need to put in a tax ID/VAT number as well. So once you've put in those details, it'll next take you through to the payment system. So easiest way is a credit card or other form of card, and you can see, as you would expect, a standard system for putting in payment details. And then you click continue, and yeah, it's as simple as that. So if we go back to the presentation, I shall now just run through Atfarm in general and some of those bits that I'd mentioned earlier. So if we head over to the website, I apologize, my internet is quite slow. So come here, but I'll just quickly run through the process. So it's as easy as just typing in the farm name. You can add notes if that's helpful to you. For example, if you're an advisor and you've got several farms, you might want to put the name of the person or whatever, but it's as easy as doing that. Click continue, and then you're ready to start setting up your fields. There's this option up here as well. You can switch farm. So if I go back to my demo farm that I've got here, and I'll just wait whilst that loads. And you can see I've already added a field in here. So that's why it's come through to there. So from here, if we want to add a field, then there's this option here at the bottom. Just click on add field, and then you can see there's a couple of options there. We've got create manually, and there's also an option to upload fields. So if we run through the create manually first, click on that. You can search for the field by a town, a postcode. It's pretty good, the search function, or you can use this locate my position as well. But seeing as we're already here, I'm going to just add one of these. So let's add this one here. And it's as simple as just drawing the boundary in. It's a very quick process. So yeah, just drawing that around the edge, and then once you've finished, you click on the tick and it's drawn that field boundary there. Some other functionality within this, you can add an inner border as well. So if you know, for example, you've got a telegraph pole or something in the middle, then you can remove that from the equation. So you can see there, I've removed that little square. You can also delete various points, and you can move them as well if you want to, and then you can click start over and it'll delete the whole field. So if we're happy with that, we click on save boundary. So let's just call this one that. Crop, it'll ask you for the crops. So I'm going to select winter wheat here, and then it'll ask you for feed, milling, etc. So let's go for milling. And the options that we've got on this account, we've got the N-Tester recommendation and also the variable rate N application. So if we save that, that's that field added. And you can see here we're getting the recent satellite images coming up already across the bottom there. So before I do a recommendation, let's go back to the farm. You can see there we've added those two fields now. If we want to add a field in the other aspect, so upload, again, you just need to click on add field there at the bottom. And again, you'll get those two options for create manually or upload. So this time we're going to choose upload. And you can see here, these are the different shape files that you will have the option to upload. And as it says there, they should be uploaded as a zip file, and there are the different ones that are supported. So if I select a file now, I've just got the one field here as a shape file. So if we select that field, and you can see it's added it in there. What it doesn't add is the cropping details, because I didn't have any information in that, so it was just the shape file that I had. So if we go to my fields, you'll see it has no crop type assigned. So I need to click on that. And then you'll get the option again to put in what crop it is, and again the crop type. So once you've done that, all you need to do is click on Save Field. And then you can see it's added that one on as well. I'll just let that catch up a second. There we go. So simple as that. For uploading fields, you can obviously upload more than one shapefile at a time. So it is very quick. If you've already got all the shapefiles, you can quite easily upload them in one go there. So in terms of getting a recommendation, let's choose this field that we added earlier. So once you've selected the field that you want to get a recommendation for, you can click, it's just a bit slow, click Get Recommendation, and you can see there we've got the variable rate, N application, or the N-Tester. So if we're wanting to create a variable rate map, we just click on this option and click on the latest cloud-free image, and then the growth stage. So let's say the growth stage was 30 to 36 at that time. So once you've selected those, then you click continue, and it'll ask you for some more parameters there. So it'll ask you for a target rate of nitrogen. So obviously that's up to you how much you're going with at that timing. It will also ask you for an upper and lower limit. So for example, if you want that to be a lower limit of 60 and say an upper limit of 100, so you can change that to be whatever you want it to be. And then fertilizer choice. You can see here again, you can type or you can scroll through the list of different fertilizers. So let's go with Axan, which is and you can see there, once you've got in all your parameters, then you just have to click on VRA map. So I'll just wait for that to come through. It's a bit of a lag. There we go. So we've got the average kilograms of N that it's putting on, the total, the amount of fertilizer that it's using, and we'll see here that the grid is a 20 by 20 meter cell size. So there are two options for the maps as well. What you can see now is what we call a raster map. So this is for the most precise applications. It's going by that 20 by 20 meter square. So you can see it's varying it more precisely. If we do the zone map, you can see it's zoning them into different areas. So it's putting on half of it as one rate and half as the other. So if you want the more precise option, it's the raster map, or if you want a simplified version, then it's the zone map. Also, what you can do here is manually edit. So for example, if I knew that I didn't want to have any application on that point, you can quite easily put that as 0. And conversely, say if you wanted to change some of the others and think, right, I want a bit more nitrogen there and there, you can do that. So it's completely customizable from that aspect. So once you're happy with your map and you've finished editing, then you can just click on export. And once that's through, you'll see that there's various different options there that are supported. So we've got John Deere shapefiles, Trimble, etc., and then there's shapefiles for other brands. And there is an option to send to your phone, to the app, and also a PDF as well. So for example, if we select John Deere, you'll see there's a little download button there, and you can see it will download that zip file. Yeah, you can see that's downloaded there. So that's ready to take across to the John Deere. So it's as simple as that. Another option which is quite nifty is the PDF option, which is down at the bottom. Again, if we click on that download, this might take a little while, just because my connection's not brilliant. So you can see once we open that, you'll get the various different maps again. So you've got your nitrogen map here, so it's telling you how much nitrogen in each of those squares. And if you'll remember, you can see that's my tree there, or telegraph pole that I excluded. Here as well, we've got the product map. So this is kilograms per hectare of Axan. That's this map here, and then you'll see what the crop was looking like at the time of application. So it's pretty good, the PDF for record keeping. Happy with that? So yeah, those are the key aspects to adding fields and creating a map. So I'm going to head back now to the present, talk a little bit about the N-Tester. So this is the Bluetooth version of the N-Tester. It's the newer version. Those of you who've seen the other N-Testers will know that there's a box kind of on the side of that device which has the display, etc. So we've lost that now because that display is all shown in the app. So it's a handheld device. It tells you how much nitrogen is in the crop through non-destructive leaf measurements, and it takes the guesswork out of that second and third application. And as I mentioned, it links via Bluetooth to smartphone and the Atfarm app. So how does the N-Tester work? If we go on to the next slide, you can see I'm afraid there's a lot on this, so don't be over-faced. Basically, what we're looking at is we know that conditions can vary greatly from season to season, and therefore this means variation in nitrogen supply and demand as well. We can see the soil supply there, mineralization is variable, and it's affected by weather conditions, so it can be difficult to estimate. As well, if we look at the green section, the crop uptake also varies depending on the mineralization, weather, and soil conditions. So the soil supply obviously doesn't meet the demand for nitrogen, so there is that fertilizer requirement. And as you can see with the red arrow, that can vary a lot season to season, depending on the other parameters. So this is where the N-Tester comes in. The N-Tester itself is testing that leaf to see how much absorption through the leaf of those two different wavelengths. You can see there infrared and near infrared. It can then calculate a numerical value directly proportional to the amount of chlorophyll that's present in the leaf. And you can see here chlorophyll A and B, and then the chlorophyll measurement at 650 nanometers, which is the wavelength. And this value can then tell us how much nitrogen is present in the leaf. And you can see from the graph, there's a very good correlation between the N-Tester value there at the bottom and the N percentage in the leaf. So yeah, it's been tried and tested for many years now, the N-Tester, and you can guarantee pretty much it's going to tell you what is in the crop at that time. Just one small point on that, Obviously, you've still got to use some agronomic knowledge with the N-Tester. For example, we had some very dry conditions this spring, and the N-Tester will still be showing what's in the crop, but of course the crop wasn't able to take up the nitrogen that is present in the soil just because of the dry conditions. So take that into account, things like that. If we had the rain event, then make sure you take your readings, say 48 hours after that rain event, so that you're not skewing the results, because yes, the device is showing you what's in the crop, but we're obviously waiting for that flush to come through after the rain, so it does still need some agronomic input. It's not a miracle device, unfortunately. So in difficult seasons like we've had this year, it will be invaluable because it's going to take the guesswork out of knowing how much nitrogen it's been able to take up from the soil. It does take varietal differences into account. So that's why you'll see we ask to have the variety put in when you're putting in the different parameters. And that's because each variety can have a slightly different color, and that can skew the results of the N-Tester. So the varieties are built into the N-Tester so that it takes those differences into account and will plus or minus however much nitrogen for the color difference in that crop. It can be used on wheat, barley, and that's malting barley as well, spring barley, rye, and triticale. And as I mentioned, it removes the guesswork from that nitrogen application. Yeah, it can be used alongside Atfarm and also the N-Sensor if you have an N-Sensor to help tailor those nitrogen recommendations. So let's go back to Atfarm. Let's let that load a second. Okay, so if we go back to the demo field, and let's select wheat 13. So you'll see if we click on get recommendation, we now want to use this N-Tester recommendation to get the N-Tester up and running. So if we click that, you'll see this message come up, which tells you to switch across to the app. So if I show you a short video now on how to use it with the app. Okay, so if you select your field that you've just added, you can see here wheat 13. So if we select that, bear in mind I did do this video last week, so it's using a slightly older map here on the 26th of April. But you can see here we've got the N-Tester option. Choose your variety. Excuse me. So once you've chosen your variety, then you'll be asked whether it's feed or milling. You'll see there's two options of growth stages for feed, and then you've got the extra protein option for the milling. It'll ask you for an expected yield, so you can alter that. You can alter the SNS if you want to, and it'll ask you how much nitrogen is already been applied. So let's say 150 for this. And then it'll also ask you, is this the last dressing, yes or no? So then you'll press and hold the button on your N-Tester so that it turns on. And once it's turned on, you'll get a tick, and then it'll ask you to calibrate, which is just pinching the device together to calibrate it. And then you'll see you need to take 30 readings. So luckily I've sped this video up, so I'm not going to make you watch through all 30 readings. And just as a note, this was some barley as well that I tested, so the results aren't quite right for wheat, but it's all I had on me at the time. So you can see this is coming up with, it needs 100 kilograms of nitrogen. It'll show you the various data that you've put in so that you know what the parameters were, and also you can see the individual N-Tester readings. And this, if we just pause it there, these readings are all very low because it's barley. This is what you'd expect for barley. Wheats would be up in the 650 kind of. You'll see that we've got some N-Tester values. Again, you can keep looking at those. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of how you add the N-Tester. So if we go back to the presentation, you can see that that is pretty much how you run through Atfarm, adding a field manually and uploading, how you add an N-Tester, and then how you do the readings themselves. I won't go through exactly how to do the readings, but what you want to do is get a representative sample. So don't just go in by the gateway. You need to do as you would do with a soil sample, kind of a W across the field. If there are problem areas, obviously don't test those because it's going to skew the overall result. So make sure it's a nice representative sample.